Happiness is something everyone feels at one time or another, usually due to the ups and downs of life. However, depression is different from feeling down or sad. A person experiencing depression experiences an intense emotion of anxiety, hopelessness, and negativity. And on the contrary of most people, those experiencing depression dwell on these feelings for a long period of time. Depression can happen suddenly, and sometimes there may be no clear reason for your depression. However, identifying what may affect how you feel and what is likely to trigger depression is an important step. Half of the people who have depression will only experience it once, but for the other half, it will be a recurring problem throughout their lives. Living with depression is not only difficult for the people affected by the condition, but it is hard for those surrounding them also. People can suffer with this disabling mental illness for years, but there is help out there, and depression can be treated. So believe you can overcome it.
Hello and welcome to tonight's Finding Answers, where, as you can see from the voiceover, we are talking about depression. And did you know 1 in 5 adults in the UK experience anxiety or depression? So people who are divorced or separated are far more likely to suffer from this mental illness, with a staggering 27% showing signs of this condition compared to those of 20% who are single. So higher levels were also recorded by those who were not paid in work at just 23%. And this is compared to people who are in work at a staggering 15%. Now, if you suffer from depression, please do not hesitate in contacting us tonight. And getting the support you need plays a huge role in lifting the fog of depression and keeping it away. On your own, it can be difficult to maintain perspective and keep up the effort required to beat this depression. But the very nature of depression makes it very difficult to reach out for help. But there are ways that you can do it. So, for instance, if you turn to friends and family members, you can make them feel loved and cared for. So spend time talking and listening face to face with trusted people and share what you're going through. Also, another way to try and beat depression is to try and keep up with social activities, even if you don't feel like it. And the last thing would be to join a support group for depression. Being with others dealing with depression can go a long way in reducing your isolation. Now, in the studio tonight, we have 2 special guests who managed to overcome this mental illness. And right now, we also have another guest sharing his testimony, Gustavo, on how he managed to beat depression.
So my life before coming to God was a complete and utter mess. I didn't have any direction. I had no role models. I was just under the influence of friends and alcohol and marijuana and pornography. Like, I just into everything that the world was in. I couldn't let go of it. I didn't want to let go of it. I really enjoyed it. But when I would go to sleep, you know, when I had time for myself, or when there wasn't any music playing or anything like that, I could really think, and that's when I'd realize what a mess I was and how empty I was, and you know, I could see where I was going, and it just wasn't the route I wanted to take, but I just couldn't let go of it. I didn't know how to go any other way. And that's when I realized, like, wow, this is really bad. So when I came to God, I saw other people my age, even younger, who were going through life, and they were really getting at things, you know. They were finding the jobs that they wanted. They had happiness inside, you know. They were controlled, they were mature, they had discipline, and I didn't have any of those things, and it really made me upset. And so through their help and sort of just giving my life to God and just really and truly wanting to accept His corrections and take on board His guidance, you know, no sex before marriage, you know, taking away the addictions. I didn't want to do this, but I saw, you know, no one else is doing anything different, and no one else is getting any different results. So that's what I wanted to do, and I just took it all on board. And as hard as it was, and it's not easy, it's not attractive at first, but then you sort of start to see the positive results, and that just gives you a kickstart to go forward, and that's what happened to me. Today it's completely transformed. My mindset, which I think is the most important thing, is completely being sort of renovated and just done over. I'm not just, you know, I just don't go to church for a hobby or just something to do on a Sunday. It's really to change my mind and to make me think different. You know, I've opened my vision. I want to do things even bigger than I've ever thought I could. You know, there's no more financial crisis in my life. You know, I know what I want to do. I'm happier to deal with my family. Like before, I would just shut them off 100%. Like I didn't know how to be kind to them. But now, you know, I'm getting better at just dealing with everybody and just being happier to be with people. And when I'm by myself, you know, there's no loneliness, there's no depression. Like I'm really excited about life and just wanting to go forth with things, yeah.
So as you can see from Gustavo's story, you can too beat depression. It is something that you can overcome. Well, in studio tonight, I have Edward with me. Good evening, Edward.
Good evening, Lisa.
What are your thoughts on tonight's topic?
You know, it's a very important topic, very pertinent, as you were presenting some data about the number of people that struggle with depression all over the world. Here in the UK is no different. Interesting thing is that 50, 60 years ago and before, we didn't hear about it this much. But it looks like with modern days and you know, with the society developing and everything, but also there are more issues now. We hear about things we wouldn't hear before. Bullying. Never heard of it in my childhood, to be honest. It's not that it didn't exist, but it wasn't seen as an issue as it is today, or other OCD, ADHD, and all these, you know, names that are now given. So evidently there's more problems, there's more issues. Even children struggle with depression. We heard of children age 8 already showing signs of depression. So it's something that has to be approached. Well, from the point of view of faith, God doesn't want us to be depressed. Joy is one of the fruit of the Spirit of God. And I would say, of course, there's many avenues to take. There's groups, there's lines that people can call for help, there's courses, education that people can get, activities they can engage. It's all positive, but in everything we say here in Finding Answers, please include God in the equation. There's no source of help that is as strong and rich in resources, in wisdom, as you can find it in God. And I believe there's many viewers of Finding Answers who consider themselves to be people of faith. And if you're trying it on your own and you're not making it, if prayers alone are not working, so evidently more help is needed. Maybe your case has to be approached more in depth. So we have advisors here. We are live in our studios, and if depression is an issue to you, or anxiety, you feel that by your faith alone you're not being able to make it, as Lisa was saying, don't try this just on your own. Look for help. It's a strength, you know, when someone recognizes, well, in this, I'm not able to do it on my own. I really need some help and guidance. The number to call is 0207-686-6300. Okay, you can call now and get advice, get prayer, speak to someone, no matter what the situation is. We're going to do our best to help you. But also, as Lisa was introducing in the beginning, we have two ladies here tonight. One was self-harming because of depression. The other one also became homeless at a young age. And they both struggle with this issue. However, they found a solution. So through their story, they are going to inspire you. I'm certain about it, okay? So don't go anywhere. We're going to go to a short break. You can use this time to give us a call. In the end of tonight's episode, also, we're going to be praying for you, and I'm certain this prayer will be effective. But you can start contacting us now, and when we come back, we'll speak to our special guests tonight.
When we want to reach our goals, we research, act, and make sure we know everything there is to know about that topic. We study hard because that is the intelligent thing to do.
This is the same for our development as a Christian. The Faith School is designed for those who want a degree in spiritual growth, those who want to separate time to study the Holy Bible and follow God's path for their life. There is no admissions fee and it's suitable for every level of learner. You will learn how to interpret the Word of God for your daily life and become stronger internally. Do you want to find inner peace and spiritual strength? Then this course is for you. The Faith School, every Wednesday at your local UCKG Help Centre. For more information, call 020-7686 6000 or visit our website uckg.org.
Hi everyone, I'm James.
And I am Helena.
Join us here every Saturday at 3 p.m. for Love Talk,
The show that teaches you how to love intelligently.
on my channel Sky 203.
See you there.
Love Talk on my channel Sky 203 every Saturday 3 p.m.
Do the maths. Changing your life is not as simple as changing your hairstyle, your shirt, or rearranging the furniture in your living room. You're talking about years of deep-rooted habits, behaviours and problems that are not going to change overnight. Many may say, think positively, but the trouble with that is that you can't do or change anything with just thoughts. But add action into the equation and the outcome can be different. Let's do the maths. Positive thinking plus action equals a change. Whatever it is, if the change is significant, if it's worthwhile, then it will have to take time, effort, and homework from you.
Pushing me for the rest of the week, so it's like a boost.
Things were really tight.
Today, the way I see myself is completely different.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Tonight we're speaking about depression. Very serious issue, important issue. Depression is associated with the soul. That's why treating it only physically isn't enough. I don't think anyone has found a definite cure scientifically for it. Why? Because it's simply something that affects the being beyond the physical level. And since it's an ailment of the soul, it has to be addressed in that level. And discovering how to establish a connection with God, a relationship with God is crucial, because God is the one that can work in your life on the three levels: the spirit, the body, and the soul. He created us this way. And actually, it's like a product. When there's a defect in a product, a problem, an issue with the product, usually the best people to send it to fix it is the manufacturer, right? It's the one who built it, who designed it. So you can try someone else who can say to you they can fix it, but sometimes by doing it you can make the problem even worse. So when it comes to issues of the soul and the spirit, I'd say the best person to go to is directly to God. And to go to Him, you only need faith, you only need belief. You don't need a religion, you don't need a mediator between you and God. You go straight to Him through your faith. Even where you are now, you can connect to Him. And we have two young ladies here who, despite their young age, had serious problems, right? Tiverie and Dami, good evening. Thanks for coming to Finding Answers.
Good evening.
Okay, starting with you, Dami. What was the beginning of everything? How did the problems begin?
Okay, so from a very young age, I was bullied at school and all of that, and I grew up in a family where there was loads of fights, knives were always being brought out. It was really crazy at home. And as I grew up, I sort of carried that baggage with me, but I didn't know that I was carrying baggage with me, so I went on in life and everything. And I would try and I had this sort of like emptiness that, I tried to fill with partying and all that kind of stuff. But eventually I got to an age and I stopped partying, and I sort of met someone. Well, in my mind, I met someone. And I began to like him because he was giving me the attention that I never had. He was always there for me. He sort of became my world. In my mind, he was everything. He didn't know, but in my mind, he was everything. I was obsessed with him. I would think about him. I'd have a picture of him on my phone, and in my mind, we was gonna get married and everything, but he didn't know. And
who was this person?
It was just like a friend.
It was a friend. It was an actual person, but a friend.
Yeah.
But in your mind, since he gave you attention that others didn't, it was like fantasizing a relationship with him already.
Yeah.
Okay, and you made of him like the center of everything for you.
Yeah, he was like my God. Like, if he would give me attention, I would feel happy. If he was there for me, I would feel happy. If I received a message from him, I would feel happy. So my happiness was based on him. When he stopped giving me that attention, it was like, bit by bit, it's like I started feeling some sort of way, like I would feel low. And the more he would stop giving me attention, I would try and get his attention. So I'd do things, I would make situations happen, like I would lie about things, and just so he would feel sorry for me, and so he would speak to me. But he sort of got the picture that, I was just seeking attention from him, and he sort of drifted away from me. And that left me in a state of like depression. I know it sounds like, why would someone be upset just because of that, or depressed just because of that? But that was the beginning of my depression. And
when he perceived that you were like clinging to him too much, right? And he started to drift away.
Yeah.
So that's a dangerous thing, isn't it, Dami? Because when we make someone so important that we put that person even above us and above God, it's a dangerous thing, I would say, to do, because we can't guarantee that that person is going to be always with us, right?
Yeah.
And God forbid, but something can happen. A person can die. For one to die, all it takes is to be alive, or a person can pursue their career, travel to another country, and something like this. And then if we base our happiness upon the company of that person, then we don't have that person anymore. Everything collapses. At some point, is that what happened to you? That was the beginning of the depression. Because after that, how did it become full-on depression?
Because of him, I sort of left my friends. I didn't really have that much friends. So when he sort of drifted away from me, I no longer had anyone I could really turn to. Well, there was people there, but in my mind, it was like I couldn't go to them. So every day I would wake up, and of course I had my baggage already, but because I was speaking to him, I was sort of ignoring it. But now it's like he wasn't there anymore. The baggage was there. I had to face every single day with all of this, and bit by bit it was destroying me inside. It's like I couldn't explain what was happening. I was a normal teenager. I was a normal girl. I was going to uni, and randomly it's like the desire to live, it was no longer there. Going to university was hard. To take a shower in the morning, it was hard. My room was a complete mess. To eat, everything that was normal, simple became hard. It was like I had to put effort to do the most simplest things. So I would go to uni, I would look at the water, because my university was near water, the river. And I would look at it, and I'd have this desire just to jump in. It's like every single day I would walk on the road and I feel like committing suicide. Cars, buses would go by, I would want to jump in front of it, I would walk in front of cars. It's only God that saved me, but it's like...
Did you actually
walked
in front of moving cars?
And it just happened to slow down. So then eventually I started self-harming. I did that as a way to sort of comfort myself. I don't know if that makes sense, but I would find a blade, scissors, whatever it was, and I would cut myself. And when I would see blood, it's like I was happy. I felt good to see myself hurt. I just wanted to hurt myself, so I would cut myself.
We have some photographs, of course. We don't want to, scare anyone or anything, but these are, this is the evidence that Dami is being sincere here. You can see the scars, that's your arm, right?
Yeah.
So you were doing that, you were cutting yourself, and because when you saw blood, it somehow made you feel what?
Better. And then when it would dry up, I'd feel upset, so I'd want to cut myself some more so that I could feel better. So it was sort of like an escape or release, just to cut myself.
But a very unhealthy one, of course. No one is passing any judgment. We know that there's people who do that, but we see that there's a problem right there. Then we have to speak about the spiritual side of it too. Then again, God is our creator, body, soul, and spirit. The body was designed by God to become the temple of His Spirit. God wants, to live, to dwell in His creation, which is an amazing thing. And in a future edition of Finding Answers, we can speak about that, how the Spirit of God wants to live in us and make us the temple. The body is the temple of the Spirit of God. However, everything that damages the body is damaging the temple. Therefore, it's not something from God. It's something from evil, from a product of work of negative forces. People who are doing this kind of thing, they also need spiritual help. Besides the counseling, besides every other help that they can get, psychiatric help or talking to someone who is a specialist, which is all good, important to do, but also get help from God. You were doing this for how long, Nami?
So I can't remember exactly how long everything went on, but the whole process was probably months. I can't remember exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not happening anymore.
No.
So you're here to share with us how you overcame that, right? We'll go back to that in a minute. Now, Tiverie, in you, what was the issue?
My issue was I was basically rejected from a young age. I came to the country when I was 9 to meet my mom for the first time, and literally she disowned me straight away. She had something against my dad, so she used it against me, and then she used me to, as a maid in the home, and no attention, no love. And if I was I would stay up till about 12 in the morning, doing things just to get her attention, just to say, oh, thank you. She would never do that. I got severely beaten. I was neglected. I wore the same uniform from year 7 all the way till about year 10. So a lot normal trousers became pedal pushers. So, every single day I was craving for attention from my mom. And the worst part was, back in Nigeria where I'm from, I had such great attention from my dad. I was his only child. I had my dad's mom. I was very spoiled. And to come into an environment, he thinking I'm coming to a better life and not knowing what I was going through, was very traumatic. And I was only 9, and not being able to speak to my dad ever again, all contact was locked off from him, the only person. He was my hero. And facing this with my biological mother, it was very difficult for me to take in, and especially as a young child and in a foreign land. I'm like, what am I doing here? Why is this happening to me? My depression became evident at a very young age. And of course, when you are I was very quiet. I didn't know how to deal with it because I used to get threats at home. Like, if you tell anyone I'm doing this to you, I'm going to send you back to Africa, I'm going to put you in a cardboard box. You know, a lot of threats. And as a child, I would take it in and believe all those things. And, you know, of course, my mother needed help, you know, but back then, oh wow, I wanted to kill her, and I didn't really know how to deal with everything. And like I said, I didn't tell anyone in secondary school. So this was inside of me. I'll cry myself to sleep, and my younger sisters will see, but obviously they couldn't do anything. So this was the pattern until I was about 16. I again, it's quite similar. I, you know, finally opened up to someone, and the person became my boyfriend for about 3 years. He was 10 years older than me. So he advised me because he saw the anger I had inside of me.
Sorry, how older than you?
I'm now 28.
No, how older? How was he? 10 years?
10 years.
10 years
he was
older.
10 years older than me.
So you were at the age?
16.
16, he was 26. Okay.
He was 26. So when I opened up, he was the only person, the first person I ever opened up to, because I was really contemplating committing suicide at home. It was either two things. Either I would have killed myself or I would have killed my mum. And I was literally plotting to do that. So that was really what was all I was thinking about. But anyway, when I told him, he then advised me to leave the place and things like that. And, you know, he was telling me about the consequences to my sisters if I reported to social services. But anyways, I went with him thinking I was going to have a good life or whatever. But the first few months, everything seemed to be okay. But then it's almost like he changed. So he became very controlling. Obviously, seeing a young girl was all about him and everything, and he took advantage. And that was it. And I was so disappointed. And at this time, I still haven't had any contact with my dad. You know, I didn't know where to even begin to start looking for him. And I was here alone. I had immigration issues. I was thinking, well, it's not my fault that I'm here. I didn't ask to come here. You know, so it's almost like I had no parental support. I had no, you know, foundation to start my life. So much pressure, not having my legal documents. I didn't even have a birth certificate. You know, I knew who I was. I knew my age, my date of birth, but I couldn't prove that I had no paperwork. So anyway, so as things became worse with him, I mean, it became so bad that, in fact, I was accepting his abuse. You know, I knew that there was someone else, you know, there, but it's almost like I was accepting it because I didn't want to lose him. It's like I didn't know what I would do without him. Like, he became, you know, everything to me. So eventually, it just became too much. You know, he was never physically aggressive, but he was playing with my mind, really, he really was. And that is probably one of the worst things. So that was when I found out as well that I had, you know, I was pregnant with his child, and, you know, he said, well, you know, you should have an abortion. You know, I'm not ready. And so I was so disappointed. I was like, again, just to please him, I'd had an abortion, and after all of that, you know, he was still, I couldn't win him over in a way. It's almost like I was there, but I was not his everything. And that was just very, very devastating because I really gave him my all. So, and that was when I just went skyrocket. At this time now, I was going to be turning 18. Still, and now social services took me on because I was under 18. So I went to seek help from them when I was about 16 and a half, and they gave me a hostel, but I was hardly in that hostel because I was always with this boyfriend of mine. So it was it wasn't a very pleasant place to be in anyway. But really, loneliness kicked in. So I was very lonely, very depressed. I was full of a lot of anger. You know, I couldn't really understand. I didn't understand life. I was thinking, what am I doing here? Like, why is this happening to me? You know, why am I going through this? You know, and I mean, on top of all of that, I was having severe nightmares. You know, it's almost like someone is about to kill me in my sleep, and I'm trying to wake up, and you know, life was just horrible. I hated everything about life. So when the relationship with him started to break down, in fact, there wasn't really a relationship anymore. That's when, like I said, I went really down, and I would be in my home for days and I wouldn't come out my house. You know, I used to really think I was very ugly, to be honest. And summertime, when you have those, you know, people want to go out summertime, I would lock myself in my little place and I would just stay there. You know, it was very sad because you know, I couldn't see who I really was. All I could see was what my mother told me I was, or what, you know, the negative thoughts that I was having. I decided to believe them instead of, you know, seeing the potential I may have, or things like that. So
at that point, did you have any perspective that things could radically change for the better?
Not at all. I mean, naturally, I'm a very determined person. That was always, I have that naturally, but even with all my determination, it's almost like there was just too much to take in, especially as a young age. I really didn't know how to handle everything. In college, in fact, it was one of my tutors that called social services because they realized that something was wrong, and I was receiving counseling, you know, but it still didn't help, to be honest. Like, it didn't help, you know, so that was really it. I didn't see any way out. Yeah.
And in your case, Dami, when you were there at that situation, suicidal, self-harming, did you have any perspective at that your life could change radically for the better back then?
No, in my mind, all I could see was there was no way out. All I could see was everything that was happening, and I literally wanted to see, like, there was a way. I wanted to be able to see that, but I couldn't. Even if someone was to tell me there was a way out, I couldn't believe it. Like, I really wanted to, but I couldn't. And that's what made me suicidal, because I didn't see a way out. So I thought the only way to end it is to end my life. Yeah.
Good. Listen, so we have here two extreme cases, and maybe you feel the same. You want to believe. You're watching them speak, tell you their story, and you say, I want to grasp, to something. I want to, but I need something to believe in. I need some concrete results. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to a break now. By the time we come back, they will both share with you how they change. And what I can put forward to you is that it was the same element for both of them. They both use the same tools. It worked for them, it will work for you too. In the meantime, 0207-686-6300 is the number you can call now. Why not call now and receive a prayer? Talk to someone. Maybe you've been watching us for a long time and you always, it's like something tells you, go ahead, pick up the phone, talk to someone, but there's another voice that says, no, it's a waste of time, don't do it. No, it's not a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time for them to get help. It won't be a waste of time for you either. So if you want, you can do this right now, or send an email to help@findinganswers.tv. It appears here. You can also write to us with your prayer request. We'll be praying for you towards the end, okay? We'll be right back.
Uplifting.
Exciting.
Diverse.
Informative.
Courageous.
Bold.
Passionate.
Powerful.
My Channel TV, featuring a kaleidoscopic daily dose of programming. Stay with us every day and explore politics, economics, science, technology, lifestyle, culture, sports, and much more. We're here to amuse you, to keep you updated, and to keep you company. We're My Channel, your channel on Sky 203.
Welcome back to Finding Answers. Our topic tonight is depression, and I'm here with Tiverie and Dami, they're sharing with us their story, right? So, starting with you, Dami, what was the turning point?
Okay, so I remember this day, it was a Thursday. I don't know what happened in the morning, but all I know is I saw the guy that I was in love with and obsessed, and he was rude to me and everything. And I mean, everything that had been happening, like I was basically failing in uni. I wasn't too close with my mom. I wasn't too close with my family members and everything. So I was just feeling really, really, really low. But before, like, I was suicidal, and I would try and go in front of cars, but I still, it's like I wanted to go, but there was still that part of me that didn't want to. But on this day, it's like I had enough. Like, I wanted to end my life, and I was gonna stab myself in my stomach. And someone messaged me, a friend messaged me, and she was like, Dami, what's wrong? And I was like, oh my gosh, like, I was going to kill myself, and someone's messaging me, Dami, what's wrong? I had to scroll up my phone to see, did I tell her that anything was wrong? But it was just, I believe it was God that literally spared my life on that day. And because of that, it just made me like, wow, okay, there must be a way out. Like, I wanted to end my life. I wanted to kill myself. And
the moment you got the knife, and you were going to do it, that's when the
I hadn't got the knife yet, but I was on my way. I was
determined to do it.
Yeah, nothing was gonna, well, something did stop me, but nothing was gonna stop me. I made my mind. That was what.
So there was like a sign from God, right? That you saw it as a sign, because it happened just at that moment.
Yeah.
From there, what happened?
So I remember I made a prayer, like I made a prayer to God, and I explained to the person what had happened. So from that moment, I began to open up. Like, the problem was I would keep a lot of things in my mind, and because I was keeping it in my mind, it would sort of eat me up. So I spoke to her, opened up to her. She was attending a Christian help center, and she basically told me there's hope. Mm-hmm. So I took that in. I started going to the Christian help center. Pastors would pray for me. I would start praying. I would listen to what they had to say. I would have one-to-ones. You know, there was always there to listen to me. Like, I didn't feel judged, nothing. They were literally there. And, you know, it really did help, like, being able to speak to people. Mm-hmm. And people listening to me. I started involving myself in things that would keep me active, so my mind wasn't really focused on depression. It wasn't easy to come out of. I won't say it was easy, but I kept my mind on different things. Even though at that time I had left university because it was too much, but eventually I was coming out of it. I didn't see, like, it wasn't one day, it was step by step. In the morning, things would get better. I was able to bath properly and, you know, eat properly and all that kind of stuff, and step by step.
Did you learn about faith?
Yeah.
How to use it?
Yeah.
And how about a relationship with God?
Yeah. So I think that was the main thing, because it's like depression, it's in the soul. Like, it's like no one, how do I explain it? No one can take it away. Like, no words, no advice. Like, it can help, but it doesn't take it away.
Right.
The moment that I started,
it doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah.
Right. It's like a palliative. It helps, but it's not a solution. But learning about connection with God and faith brought a solution.
Definitely.
Is that right to say that? Solution?
Definitely.
Because you don't have depression anymore.
No.
You don't feel depressed.
No.
At all.
No. Things that are worse have happened to me, and it hasn't, I've cried, I've been upset, but it hasn't knocked me down. It's like I can see the old Dami and the new Dami. I can see the Dami that was depressed, and I can see the Dami now. It's completely different. And it's like seeing myself now and looking back, it's like, wow, I was looking at myself thinking I can never get out of this. And I look at myself now and I'm like, wow, I got out of that. And it seemed so hard at that time, but I got out of it.
So no more suicidal thoughts?
No, no more.
You want to live?
Yes.
Are you a happy person today?
Very happy.
Yes?
Yeah.
Have goals for your future?
Yeah.
Very good. And Not making that guy the center of your life anymore?
No, definitely
right?
not.
Who is the center of your life
Quite,
today?
Quite.
That's great. That's great to hear, okay? And you, Tiverie, how tell us how things changed. Was it like Dami, a process of, took a while? How was it?
To be honest, it was a process. It took a while to be. It took some years because I guess because I really didn't want to apply my all. I found excuses as to why I should not, forgive some people, and it's like, no, it doesn't make sense. Why should I? But then I was taught in the Christian Help Center that, I remember actually the first ever, conversation I had with one of the pastors there was, I just was telling him everything I've gone through, and I was very bitter, and things like that. And he said, the first thing he said was, well, you need to forgive your mom. I'm like, what? I was so angry. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Do you understand what I've just said to you? I really was like I didn't say it in front of him, but I was thinking that. So anyway, after that, I started that process because I learned that forgiveness, you set yourself free when you forgive. Right. Because I was really in a bondage for a long time. Although I was really plotting to kill my mom, and things like that, but she was moving on with her life. And sometimes, some of the things she did, she probably didn't even realize she did that bad, so only later on, when obviously now we have a relationship and I've spoken to her, she really explained to me, the situation she's going through, but it affected me so much that I couldn't come out of that. So I was reliving it. I was reliving the whole mess of my life, and I couldn't see any future for myself. So once I learned to let go, I then see some sort of light. I was learning other things, how to value myself in terms of relationships, and that was what inspired me to cut off with this particular guy. It was my first boyfriend, to cut off with him. And, I was learning the power of faith, like you were saying, believing without seeing anything, that you can have a good life. And to be honest, I can speak now, but previously I was a very quiet person. Those who know me, I've been attending the Help Center for over 11 years. So I came when I was 17. So those who know me know before I was very reserved. I wouldn't speak. Because I really, to be honest, I didn't really believe in myself. I was very shy, whatever. But that, going to the Help Center, learning the Word of God and what He says about me, and His promises for my life, I started to believe it. So, well, maybe let me believe in this. And it took time.
So developing a relationship with God was not something overnight.
No.
But as you took in what you were learning, right, about faith, about God, you said you learned how to let go. You had to learn how to forgive. And doing these things, you were not doing good to others. You were doing good to
myself.
Yourself. So I understand that both of you had a lot of junk, let's say, right, to get rid of, which was dragging you down. But faith helped you both get rid of it, right?
Absolutely.
How about today? Are you still depressed?
Today I'm the opposite of depressed, actually. I've experienced, I've changed my life. From the person who was shy, who didn't see a way out. I've worked in some amazing places, and I think, wow, I actually couldn't read at 16. I couldn't read. At the age of 16, right? Yeah, I couldn't read because, I don't know, I guess when you're traumatized as a child, it does affect you. Yeah, and I didn't really have time for education and things like that. And I was also diagnosed with dyslexic and whatever. So, but again, the power of faith. I used it, believing in myself, believing that God was with me, and really believing it. Not just imagining it, but I really had to build a relationship with God. So I've been able to overcome that and build a good future for myself. And I know that the future, is
Are you working or studying today?
I'm working today.
And you?
Working.
Working too. So both of you are working, right? Yeah. Excited about your life?
Yes.
Yes? And suicide is also not something that crosses your mind anymore?
No.
A total change.
Yes.
So this is, we say something usually, in finding answers, and I'm saying it again. When you see facts in front of you, there's nothing to argue. And this is a fact. We're not only speaking about God, but showing here, through true stories, radical stories, right? Severe issues despite of their young age, abuse, self-harm, depression, suicide, insomnia, nightmares, making a person be their God, and who now are, two centered ladies, established, balanced, happy, with goals for their future. Congratulations on this change, okay? Do you want to achieve that too? Let us help you. The same God who helped them is ready to help you. Once again, I remind you, 0207-686-6300. Why not call now or send us an email to help@findinganswers.tv. What you can also do is prepare a glass with water. I have mine here prepared. After this break, Pastor Ade is going to join us in this discussion on how faith can help you overcome depression.
The pursuit of happiness. What will make you happy? Success? Fame? New shoes? Financial security? Love? Education? Independence? Family? Sometimes in the pursuit of things we think will bring us happiness, sometimes we fail to see that we aren't happy, or we never find it. We live in a world of people. Rather than pursue things to make you happy, what if we all worked to make each other happy? Wouldn't we all be happier?
Welcome back. Well, we're coming close to the end of tonight's episode and to pray for you. But Pastor Ade is with us this evening. Good evening, Pastor Ade.
Good evening, Pastor Edward.
So the testimonies, the two ladies that we have here, Pastor Ade, are the best evidence that God wants to help those who have serious problems. Not only depression, but any incurable disease, suicidal thoughts, those who think that all is lost for them. But when we find how to connect with God through the power of faith, we find that not all is lost. We can find solutions.
Exactly, especially with the subject today, depression. From what I last understood, it's that it's become actually something that doctors has diagnosed as a disease. So it's quite common. A lot of people are suffering with depression, and we know that this problem with depression is not physical. It's spiritual. It's to do with the inside of the person. And although people may have medication or go to the doctors to acquire medication, etc., only the power of prayer, faith, can help a person to solve the problem with depression.
And you know, someone may ask, but we're talking about faith. How can faith help me, Edward? Very simple, very easy to understand. Faith is assurance. Faith is certainty. Depression is a constant state of doubt. Putting in a nutshell, that's it. I'm depressed because I'm listening to these thoughts. Nothing is going to work. There's no point in even trying. If I try, I'll fail. Look at what I've done. It didn't work so far. What makes me believe it's going to work now? So it's a constant 24-hour state of doubt. Now, faith is the antidote to that, because when you are in a state of faith, you have assurance. You don't let your emotions get in the way of what you need to get done. That's the power of faith. You say, it's going to work. Oh, because God is with me, it's going to work. Oh, but you failed before, but this time I'm going to succeed. And if I do not succeed this time, there will be another. I'm alive. I have another day. I have another time. But I'm not going to stop trying until I make it. So when you are moved, Pastor Adi, by this kind of mentality, that's the mentality of faith. The one that leads us to miracles, and solutions to problems that in other avenues people can only find maybe an alternative to suffer less. But God doesn't want us to suffer less.
Exactly.
He wants us to enjoy life, and life with abundance.
Faith has everything to do with, not allowing ourselves to be led by feelings. Emotions is what causes a person even to be led to depression. But faith overpowers all types of feelings, including depression. So, as you were saying right now, for us to overcome problems, depression, or whatever it may be that is oppressing the person needs to apply faith to achieve whatever they want.
That's absolutely right. We're going to pray on your behalf. We love to speak about faith. That's, to me, the most exciting part of life. When I'm speaking about faith, it's what we do, it's what we live, it's what we believe in. And how many testimonies have we brought here? So many. But we're not doing this to convince you, because I can't convince you of faith. No one can. Faith is a gift. It's a revelation. It's a divine revelation. Either you use it or you don't. But if you want to learn how to benefit from this power, what can you do? You can talk to God. God, I want to learn this faith. Please reveal this to me, because I don't want to continue as I am. I want to change. I really want to change. I need your help. If you do that, you will see He will help you. Actually, why not doing that right now? It's the moment of prayer.
Prepare now for the moment of prayer. If you would like us to make a prayer for your health and general well-being, send your name and prayer request to help@findinganswers.tv.
My Lord and my Father, we enter into your presence right now determined, and we believe that you have something great in store for each and every person who is watching. Maybe this person can relate to everything that was spoken tonight in regards to depression. But my God, right now, as we expressed, faith overpowers all feelings. So allow this person to be set free. Set this person free. If there's anyone watching right now that is going through so much that is leading them to depression, my God, help them to overcome. We already bless this water, and if they have water there that they have right now with them, may it be blessed. When they drink, your power will come inside to take away all negativity, all depression, all weaknesses in the name of Jesus. We declare and we are certain that this prayer has reached out to all those who believe. In Jesus' name, amen.
This is it. You can drink the water. You are blessed. And once again, connect to God. Learn how to use this power called faith, because there are no limits for those who learn how to use this power. It was a pleasure being with you until now. Tomorrow, 11 p.m. sharp, we're going to have another edition of Finding Answers. Pastor Michael Boudrim is going to be with us, all right? And he has a very also interesting, important topic to exploit. Good night to everyone. God bless you. See you tomorrow.